You're listening to Rock at Night.
Are you ready? Hey, tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights never dim. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. I'm not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down, if you feel good now. Get on down.
This is Charisse with Rock at Night, and I'm speaking with John Ramsey of the Cleveland band Orange Animal. And today we're going to talk about his new album, Still Frames, which came out on February 16th. Hello
Hi.
there. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
You're up in cold Cleveland.
I am in cold, snowy Cleveland. That's right.
I always think of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I have yet to visit. I'm sure you've been there.
I haven't. I have
You
not
haven't?
been. I have not. And everybody I talk to gives me grief for it, but I have not been there. I'm sure one of these days I will. I just haven't done it yet.
Isn't that funny? That's
I
kind
can't
of
really
like,
say there's a good excuse. There's not a reason for it. I just haven't done it yet.
is the admission expensive? I have no idea.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
And it's right down the street. I just haven't been there yet.
Wow, that is so funny. Well, it's like me being in Florida. I haven't been to Disney in maybe a decade or so. I mean, why go when it's 90 minutes away? So
Mine's right hop, skip, and a jump. I just haven't had an opportunity to go yet.
yeah. Wow. Okay. I always think of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I also think of Cedar Point, which is kind of close to there. Not quite.
No, I grew up in Sandusky, so
Did you?
Cedar
Oh.
Point I can speak to heavily because I grew up in Sandusky and in that area, and yeah, I've been to Cedar Point many times.
I have fond memories.
Yeah, no,
of
it's a
Cedar
fantastic
Point.
place. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic place.
Mhm. So, Orange Animal, you guys have been around since 2017. How did you come up with that name? Does it have any kind of meaning?
Yeah, so when we were originally trying to put this together, I had written a number of songs, and we were starting to kind of put them together and started thinking about playing songs out and playing venues and whatnot. And so we were talking about, all right, what's the name?
Mhm.
And ultimately, I grabbed onto Orange Animal for a couple reasons. One, orange is my favorite color, and I know it sounds absurd. Okay, all right, see, and I kind of wanted a name that didn't signify a specific genre of music. I wanted the freedom, I wanted the flexibility to write whatever I wanted to write. I wanted the freedom and flexibility that when you see our name on a venue, it doesn't guarantee a certain segment is in or out. Now, that could have cut against us or otherwise, but I've always loved Orange Animal. Kind of universally, folks have enjoyed it and gravitated toward it and appreciated that there's a certain meaninglessness to it. Yeah, so I wish there was some deep, profound meaning underneath it, but orange is my favorite color, and I just thought it sounded nice going with Orange Animal. So
You're the only person I've ever heard of where orange is a favorite color. I happen to like orange and rust. And orange is happy to me. I love orange.
I love orange.
A lot of my clothes that I wear are orange or green,
Well, I'm gonna have to send you some Orange Animal merchandise because we've got some good orange merchandise. We'll send it down your way.
I love the orange. So you guys have been around since 2017. Do you have the same lineup or do you have a new lineup now? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So when we started, it was our drummer Adam Thurman, bass player Bill Daravan, and then that's been the three primary figures throughout the entirety of it, and almost completely throughout the entirety of it. We've had various other instruments come in and out at different times for different shows, and specifically, if you talk about like the recording of Still Frames, there were, we had some added guitar player, a gentleman by the name of Chris Shaheen. And he's been friends with me for a number of years. He plays in another band called The Battle, excellent instrumental band with Ron and Don Copenhaver, who are twins. And they helped on this album with drums and some other things, some percussion, some baritone guitar, some producing. And so for us, it's been predominantly the core of Adam, Bill, and me. But then we've had other musicians come along. But now, full time, Chris has now joined us full time. So now we've got 2 guitars, a bass, and drum, and we'll add different musicians for different shows as we go along.
I noticed some of your songs had nice strings, accompaniment, violins or whatever.
Mhm.
Very pretty.
Thank you. So this was kind of a spectacular thing that happened. There is an amazing violin player by the name of Ariel Karras, and she fronts a group called Opus 216 in Cleveland, and they are kind of an orchestral group and really amazing. So anyway, Ariel came in and did just really, I can only say, a beautiful job of translating. I'm not a classically trained musician, and so everything that I write by ear. And she did such an amazing job kind of translating, my explanations, my verbal explanations of what I want, and my humming and my yelling and screaming and singing, and for both Midnight in Warsaw, she did an amazing job capturing that, what I wanted. And then in Hammer in My Hands, that one catches me every single time because I told her, I kind of described a story, and I said, I want you to play this story. And she played the story. She created the audio story of it. And I absolutely, I've just fell in love with it. She's also, she does some work on There Were Nights. And then the last type of string accompaniment you'll find is on Clear, but that was done by another gentleman, Mike Murray, who did it all on electronic instruments.
Yeah, I had Hammer in My Hand and Midnight in Warsaw written down. I said, I
Yeah.
wrote down a description of each song, and I said, beautiful violin accompaniment, because it is, which grows,
Amazing.
it's beautiful. Yeah. Hammer in My Hand, I swear, in that song and a lot of the songs, you make me think of Eddie Vedder, your voice. You have a great baritone voice. I bet a lot of people say that.
I have gotten that a number of times. Yeah.
His solo work, not Pearl Jam, but his solo
Sure.
work, I really like a lot. And I have one of his ukulele CDs.
Oh, nice.
He did a lot of songs on ukulele, and it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. The ballads are wonderful. The piano song is almost like a lullaby.
Yeah. So it is a lullaby.
It is.
So
Okay.
I wrote that one kind of came, I wrote the music to it back in 2000, let's see, probably about 2007. And I found it on a hard drive, just the instrumentation. I found it on a hard drive, I don't know, maybe 6 months, 8 months ago, and cleaned it up. And I just kind of kept thinking about what I wanted to do with it, and really where that music hit me now, and where it landed was, it just kept bringing me back to tucking my kids into bed. So I've got 3 children, and most nights, in fact, I tuck them in, and when they were younger, my youngest is still 6, so I will sing songs to them. And so the lyrics of Piano Song are, it's a story of tucking your kids into bed, and it's a story of I've intermixed some of the lyrics from the lullabies that I sing and have sung to all 3 of my kids over the years. So it's absolutely a lullaby, no question about it.
It sounded like one, a very sweet melody that it sounds, yeah. I mean, I said, that's a lullaby. I wrote that.
Yeah.
Very nice. Riptide starts off as, a ballad, but it really builds into like a rock song.
It does, 100%. Yeah, no, that one came from and built from just personal story of mine. About a year ago, I ended up having to be in the emergency room, and they thought I was going to have emergency surgery, and so they rushed me from one hospital to the next. And I had this moment where it all was just kind of being torn away from me, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what the next situation was going to be for me, and ultimately I ended up fine. So all is good. But it was enough to where I thought, my golly, how fast all of everything that you have, your everything can just be pulled away right now, and there's no going back. And so I thought the way that musically feels to me is, there's a slow start to it, but it gets heavier at those spots where you're getting pulled away. And then the chorus is more of a reflection, or at least an acceptance to, you are being pulled away. There's nothing you can do. We're all being pulled away. It's how life goes. But in any event, that's why you get those heavy spots of where you're being torn away by the riptide, if you will.
That totally makes sense. It's like the current, the buildup, the rolling waves or whatever.
Yeah.
Florida, we can relate to that. With riptides.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
I really like Clear. Great melody in there too.
Thank you. Clear started off, golly, I've been messing with that song with the music of it. I started playing with that music probably about, oh gosh, probably about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. As Orange Animal, we played with it in different variations, and so finally this time I really spent some time crafting it, and really what it was, it was always in my mind where this was going, but where it was, what it is, it's I started envisioning so my mom passed in 2012. And so I started envisioning, kind of a conversation with her. And then it kind of morphed into a conversation with somebody who is long lost and forever lost. But what if they came back for a minute? What would you say? How would you say it? What would be your questions, your feelings, your remarks, and those kind of things? And so I wanted that slow build. I wanted that energy to it. The guitar solo, I wanted it to have kind of a more of a ripping guitar solo with a lot of fuzz to break up the overall sensation of it a little bit. So yeah, that's really where that song comes from.
I listened to some of your older music, like Run Lovers Run, and some of your older music, I would say classic rock sound,
Yeah.
heavy. This album seems to be more of a retrospective. Like it's very personal. It seems a lot of the songs, ballads. Is that
100%? This album is really personal to me. So if I were to track the chronology of our music, the first album was very personal to me. And not to say that there's not personal elements to all of these songs, but like when you look at Run Lovers Run, Ask Me There, really kind of classic rock music, that stuff I wrote during the pandemic. And it was one of those things musically where it was less a time of musical introspection, because we were surrounded by introspection, right? We were, all of us, we're home. We're trying to make sure our kids survive this. We survive this. We don't know what we're facing. So introspection is on top of us. And so those songs came more from a almost entertaining myself with, I wasn't going out to clubs. I couldn't go out to shows. I couldn't play shows. And so I'm just writing rock and roll songs in my basement, and songs that I just had fun playing and writing. They weren't terribly introspective. Run Lovers Run is not some, deep cut that reflects the inner workings of my soul, but it's something that I love playing live. I love the entertainment value of it, and I enjoyed the hell out of writing it.
Well, all of us had a lot of pent up energy during the pandemic that we had to release. So a lot of aggression. So that's probably why Run. Yeah. And I like your earlier stuff. It's real rocking. And it also, I saw that you guys played at the Viper Room in California. You went out there?
We did. This is one of the beauties of modern technology, and the use of social media. Is that, a few years ago, right before the pandemic, I'd put out on Instagram stories, saying, we're looking for places to play. Right. We'd played, I think we'd played a show in Chicago. I think we played Columbus and some other venue. We were relatively newer, but we'd had a couple albums out, and so I put on social media, any suggestions, and a guy out in San Diego said, San Diego. And I said, that's wonderful. I don't know anybody in San Diego to connect me to a venue, much less anything else. And so he connected me with an amazing, wonderful, wonderful human being, promoter out there by the name of Kelly McGarry. And so I reached out to her, and she ultimately got back to me, and we put it all together. She was wonderful as far as arranging for us to get on the venue and put us at a great time slot. And so we played there once right after the pandemic. We were supposed to play before the pandemic, and that got delayed. And then we played there once, had an amazing time, absolutely loved it. Great, loved the show. So about 9 months later, we went back out, played it again. Also played the lounge. So that was just an acoustic set. And then we also played a really cool venue called El Cid while we were out there. So it absolutely love playing out there.
The Viper Room is very historic. I mean, a lot of people have played there and died there, I have to say.
Sure,
I always think of River Phoenix,
Right. Yeah,
the
no, it's
Viper
definitely
Room.
got a storied history, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean that must have
It's
been
such a
quite.
cool venue. It's such a cool venue. And I
Oh,
would tell you,
I've
in
never
my
been
life,
there. Tell
the
me
first
about
time
it.
coming down. Oh, well,
What's it look like?
it's kind of a cozy venue. It's a little smaller than what I had imagined going out there, but it's just perfectly sized. So, and it's got a nice elevated stage. It's got a wraparound curtains that go in front of the stage, which is really kind of neat. You don't see that in a lot of venues, and just a great local crowd that comes in, and we had the good fortune of playing on a Friday and a Saturday night, respectively, and just so much fun, just so much fun. And I will tell you, in my life, if I'm laying on my deathbed and this thought occurs to me, I will definitely smile. The first time driving down Sunset Boulevard and seeing Orange Animal's name on the marquee, that was as good as it gets. That was pretty cool. That was fantastic.
I'm excited just hearing about it because I mean, everybody knows the Viper Room,
Yeah,
and to get there, like you said, on a Saturday night or whatever. I mean, I'm sure
yeah,
it's a party crowd.
yeah. No, there was a great crowd, and the other bands were really cool. Yeah, I have nothing but great things to say, and nothing but great things to say about Kelly McGarry. She's been somebody that I've been able to keep in contact with since then. So
Well, speaking of going out of state, do you have a tour coming up, and where are you going?
yeah, so right now we are in the process of getting our calendars coordinated for Chicago, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, New York, and hopefully Philadelphia. That's our first kind of set that we're trying to put together. And it's one of those things we don't have dates and times nailed down yet, but we're hoping to have all of that wrapped up. Goodness, I'm hoping in the next couple weeks we'll have those dates locked in. So on our website on www.orangeanimal.com, we'll update all of our shows as directly and on our Instagram. We always put that stuff out there.
I hope you get Detroit in there.
What's that?
Get Detroit in there.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. What am I saying? Detroit. Yeah, of course. Of course.
We're the Motor City. We love rock. I mean,
Detroit is on my list. I
yeah.
promise you. Now I'm not just saying that. Detroit's on my list.
And if you're there in a summer month, I will see you.
All
It's too
right.
cold
All right.
now.
I'm
Too
I'm gonna
cold.
hold you. By the way, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna hold you to that because I think it's gonna be in the summer months because I'm not playing
Well,
Detroit.
that's June, July. That's like when I'm there usually. And I
All
try to
right.
get there like Labor Day weekend a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on too. So, do you
Yeah.
guys ever play at festivals?
We've played not we've played in some Cleveland festivals that have been great. We played at the Heights Music Hop. That's all these various neighborhood festivals. Last summer we played at a porch festival. So there's an area in Cleveland, a certain neighborhood in Cleveland, and they shut it all down, and they have all these vendors and food vendors and various homeowners host bands. And I got to tell you, it was one of the most fun experiences playing music outside on somebody's porch. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's fun listening to, like, people across the street from their balconies, like screaming over, yelling yelling, cool, rooting you on and whatnot. That was real neat.
I have to say, block parties, house parties, backyard concerts, they're the best. They're a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
There's no pressure on them, and it's kind of, and you get, I think what I really enjoyed about the Porch Festival was that the way it's set up is the bands are timing staggered, right? So let's say we would play, so the crowd would get in front of the house that we're in and playing. When we're done with our set, they just walk down the street and they get in front of the next house where the next band is playing. So you have kind of this roaming band of fans, just and people you don't know, and of all ages, kids, older people. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's a lot of fun.
That's what I was going to say too. I bet like teenage kids, I mean, to see a band or rock band, that was a big deal
Yeah,
for me growing up.
yeah, absolutely. No, it was
I
cool.
I used to see a lot of garage bands. People
Yeah,
used to do that. That's where people would practice, basement or garages. So,
yeah, yeah. And in fact, I've joked that at one point, I was playing a guitar solo, and I walked down the front of the porch, and I'm kind of in no man's land, and I'm sitting there playing a guitar solo, and the person cheering me on the most was probably, an 80-year-old woman who was just happened to be sitting right up front, and she was just rooting me on, and it was just a lot of fun. It was really sweet. It was really, really nice.
That 80-year-old woman could have been at Woodstock for all you know. I mean, everybody's getting up there when you think about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I appreciated it.
Yeah.
Goodness, I appreciated it. It was nice.
That's funny. What's next on the horizon? You've got a new album out, a tour, anything else that's newsworthy you would want people to know about?
Yeah, I would say listen to the album. I mean, that's something that means the most to us. Having people, follow us on Instagram, come out to our shows is a big, big thing that we love to have happen. We love hearing from folks if they like the album. We've got more Spotify playlists that are coming around that we've just got in contact with that they want to put our songs on there. And then we've got some various blogs that have reached out that are going to publish some stuff. So that's amazing. And just come on out and see us. For us right now, what we're really trying to refine is our live show. And that's really where we're at. We had the album release show last Friday. Had a great time, but it's one of those things where you know what you want to tighten up. You know how you want to tighten your live show going forward, and cleaning up your set list as to specifically what you think works and where it works before we take it on the road. So that's where we're at right now.
Will you play mostly songs from your new album, or will you have just a mix of everything that you guys have done?
It's a mix of everything. Like one of the songs, Other Side of the Ocean, which is on the new album, that's a duet with a woman by the name of Autumn Traub, who just beautiful, beautiful voice. And so if she's not able to play, then we probably won't play a song like that. But we'll definitely, this last show we played, Battleship, and we played some other heavier stuff and mixed that in with the new album. So I'm guessing it's going to be a mix of new stuff and old stuff.
Not to backtrack, but I was just curious, have you been in bands all your life? Is this like a hobby thing? Or, I mean, your voice is wonderful. I love your voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I started playing guitar when I was 11, and I played in a band in junior high and high school. Or at least for part of high school. And then after that, I didn't play in bands until I started Orange Animal back in 17. So I'm not a kid. And so that's a lot of years, but I always played my guitar. I always wrote music. Music has always been such a huge, huge part of my life. And so when I started Orange Animal, it was to a certain extent, I needed it. I loved it. I missed it. And the kind of the stars aligned, and it just felt like absolutely the right thing to do. And it was one of those projects that when I committed to it, I had committed to it. I didn't want to do it as simply a hobby. I didn't want to do it just simply passively. When I did it, I thought, all right, I'm going to put my songs out there. I'm going to put my heart out there. I'm going to put my soul out there, and I'm going to play as many songs, as many shows as time and fate will allow. So that's really what we've been doing. And like I said, music's been just a huge part of my life all the way through.
So in a sense, it was almost like rediscovering music since you started it in 2017. You said, this is part of me. I'm tired of doing it just in my bedroom or the basement. I want to do a band.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. So, and like I said, the stars kind of aligned and everything just kind of landed into place. And then once that happened, once it was my drummer and I who started working together first, and I realized right there I had somebody who wanted to do this too. And so then I found our bass player who's been with us for 7 years. I found him on Craigslist, and he's such an amazing bass player and a good friend. So things have just kind of worked out the way in a really, really special way. Orange Animal has been, such a life-saving and life-affirming project for me. It's a lot of work, and I lose a lot of sleep over it, I'm not going to lie. But it's been every level worth it.
Music makes you whole.
Oh, completely. Yeah, I can't imagine living without it. That's my favorite part of other things besides my children, which my littlest one's sitting right here looking at me.
You can put them in the band too. Are they going to learn? They'll probably learn music. Yeah,
I'm working on it. Time will tell.
I play music too, and I mean I do the journalism, and my music has been on the back burner, but I think when kids have lessons as far as music, it's a gift you carry your whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it till you're in your 70s, 80s, whatever. And it helps with your thinking.
It does.
So
Yeah, I fully agree with you. It helps in so many different areas of my life. And yeah, no, absolutely. It's central to everything. The other thing I've found is just I find it unique to other musicians that I play with. I mean, that's something that I think it's so hard to describe how amazing that side of it has been, is the wonderful musicians that I've met along the way, and the people that I've met along the way, that if I didn't do this, I would not have had these people in my life, people that are now super close friends of mine, people who I admire, people who have made my life so much better, who have, brought bright days to me. And it's fun watching other people create. That's something that it's hard to describe, that the value of creating. And I love watching other bands play, because it takes a lot. I know what it takes to get up there on stage and do that, and put your soul and your person and your voice and your guitar and all of those things, and whatever instrument, and put it out there for people to judge, to measure, to like, to dislike, to connect with, whatever it might be. So I think for me too, playing out like that has just been more than I ever could have imagined.
I think it's the collaboration that makes it special. Playing by yourself is one thing, but once you team up with one person or two or three, it's like great minds think alike, and you're like a machine working together. It's a team, like a sport almost,
No, and it's wonderful watching what other people bring to the table. Because there have been plenty of these songs. I mean, I will write the basics of the song. I'll write all the elements of it. But when it comes down to it, what the drums bring, what the bass brings, what other elements come into it from their musicality, it just takes it to that other place where I would never have come up with that. I mean, there are bass parts that Bill has come up with. There are drum parts that Adam has come up with, and that others have come up with that. It wouldn't have arrived to me, but I'm so grateful that it arrived to them and that they brought it to the table. I'm with you on that. There's, a lot of times it's like a family. Sometimes you bicker, you argue, you get pissed at each other. It happens.
And it's hard with egos. I mean, sometimes everybody wants to be a boss, or everybody has a great idea, but the other people don't like it. It's hard, but it's a team effort.
Without question.
All right, we're almost out of time, so I would like to thank you for joining Rock at Night, and I want people to listen to Orange Animal's Still Frames. I've been listening to it, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to be here. So yeah, thank you so much, and have a very, very wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, John. We'll see you later. Okay.
Sounds good. Good night.
Bye-bye. Here is Orange Animal with Hammer in My Hands.
Sitting in a room full of broken glass, shells came down so goddamn fast. Tried to blame the sins of another man's past, but I knew this one's on me. Yeah, I knew this one's on me. The warm, soft corners you wore to bed, the long lost beauty in the colors you bled, shards of glass that just couldn't last. This hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. Carried this hammer since I was a boy, forged as a tool, more weapon than a toy. Fist built for fighting, but my heart won joy. But this hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. Used it to build the home where we lived, bought the boards and the nails when the money was thin. The kids were young, you'd hear me brag about this hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. Buildings grew higher as time marched on, for its stories are more, I declare, with the fury of 100 men or more. This hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. I've carried this hammer since I was a boy, forged as a tool, more weapon and toy. Fist built for fighting, but my heart won't joy. This hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. Hammers are known for the gentlest of things, like peaceful mornings or the dawnings of spring. Take the man first, then the man's precious things. This hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. Now I'm sitting in a room full of broken glass. The shelves came down so goddamn fast. Like we tried to save me, but couldn't outlast. This hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands. Well, I carried this hammer since I was a boy, forged as a tool, more weapon than toy. Fist built for fighting, but my heart won't joy. Said this fist built for fighting, but my heart won't joy. But this hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands, this hammer in my hands, this damn hammer in my hands.
You're listening to Rock at Night.
The introductory song, Get On Down, is from blues artist Billy Bass Alford. Look for his music at ReverbNation.com.